unboxing. I hope you enjoyed my first video on the review of the Zemel Z8 reflecting telescope, or Thomsonian telescope. Today I'm going to show you how to do some really the setups for using the camera and shooting astrophotos and stuff like that of the planets and things like that. First thing I just want to say is that if you're looking for long exposure photographs, doing like constellations and taking long exposures, this is not the scope for you. You're going to need one that has a go-to mount, like I said in the very first video. If you're just looking for some basic shots and photos, then this is definitely the scope that it's good for. It has a lot of light gathering power, so it's really, really amazing. So there's a couple ways to do it. The first way is the prime method, and I got to get my camera. I'll be right back. Okay, the first thing you need naturally is a camera. You can use any type of camera. You can use a DSLR if you have a laptop and stuff, and this is set up outside. You can have a USB camera, which you can run right through your laptop and software that's used to capture photos and stuff like that. The first method is called the prime method. Now, many people have said, and I couldn't get it to work like that, but apparently they have, so I can't argue and say it's not possible. Well, the first thing you need is a T-ring and a T-adapter. And basically this just screws into the T-ring and it's connected. The T-rings, they make for Nikon and Canon, but that's the T-ring, and then there's the T-adapter, which is that thing right there. And that just screws into that thing. And of course, it has the red dot on it for the Canon camera, just like it would. And that. Now I've heard people say you can plug it directly into the focuser, and voila, whatever you're focused on, you can just zoom out with your focuser until the thing is clear, the image is clear. I couldn't get it to work because apparently from the secondary mirror to my camera sensor, there's not enough, the focal plane is too short, so I needed a little longer focal plane. So what I had to do was use the T-ring and adapter and use a Barlow lens as the prime. And you can use pretty much any size. With this particular telescope, you can use up to 5 times. If you're just doing it like this with the projection method, you can't. With this way you can, and basically it plugs right into your eyepiece thing, and just like that. So now that makes this a 2 times, which is, this is a 1200 millimeter focal length, which will make it 2400 millimeters. I use the monitor, like I said, which is easier. I also will recommend strongly that you get either a wireless remote or a remote shutter. And I'll explain why here in a minute. I'm pretty sure it's pretty obviously why. Now this is on a very unstable base, so it's shaking really a lot. But even when it's not, when it's on the ground, it shakes a little bit. So every time you're trying to press the button, the telescope shakes, so you're not going to get a very clear image. With this, you can just basically set it, forget it, and shoot, boom, boom. And you can also shoot, program how many shots you want to take. But unfortunately, because this is not a go-to scope, within 10 seconds, whether it be on this one or that one, that, say Jupiter, I usually try to get it to start here and just snap as many photos as I can as it crosses the plane. In about 10 seconds, it's out of that field of view. So, same thing with this. I have a monitor so I can see it a little bigger because I can't hear. With this particular setup like it is, with just the T-ring and the adapter and the Barlow lens, this is a 2 times Barlow lens. I'm going to kind of show you something really, really interesting here. I'm going to give you an idea how small Jupiter is. You see this washer? See the hole? And I can see if I get a little closer without getting blurry. That's about how small you're going to see Jupiter in that monitor. Either monitor, same thing with that one and that one. That's how tiny it is. So when you're focusing, you got to try to get the band lines as clear as possible that you can see it. So I always recommend using a higher magnification, a Barlow lens. I, on the other hand, just happen to have, because I use it for my regular photographs and stuff, is a ×2 teleconverter. So I usually put that on first. If you don't have one of these, you don't have to use it. I put that on first, then my T-ring and the T adapter with my Barlow lens, making this 4 times the magnification. So now you have the ×2 magnification Barlow lens and the ×2 teleconverter. Again, plugged in the same way into the eyepiece thing. They do have brass compression rings on both the 2" and the 1 1/4, so it prevents any scratching of any eyepiece or equipment that you use. So with that and this makes it 4 times. Now if you don't have one of these Kenko or any kind of ×2 teleconverter, it doesn't matter, you don't need it. Like I said, you can plug it directly into the T-ring and adapter and then Barlow lens and then onto your camera. I just ordered a 5 times Barlow lens, so with the 5 times and the 2 ×2 teleconverter is going to give me 7 times the magnification, which is going to make this basically an 8400 millimeter telephoto lens. So that's going to be very powerful, which will be really, really nice. Now I'm going to show you the projection method. That one's pretty cool too. Basically what you're going to need is what they call an extension tube. It's got the tube where it will house the eyepiece, and then it's got the T-ring, I'm sorry, the T adapter, and then the eyepiece. Now I put usually between a 6 and a 9 millimeter. I don't go anything higher than that or lower. Basically the eyepiece sits inside there. There's a little screw thing here. It screws onto it. Now this normally where your T adapter would go, which is now it's on here. This will screw into your T-ring. And then your T-ring goes onto your camera as if you were putting a lens on. Now, again, I have to use the Barlow lens. Even with the tube, I have to use the Barlow lens. Some people have said their things work fine with just the tube and the lens inside of it, the eyepiece. It doesn't work on the Jamel for some reason. It's very blurry, and so I still have to end up using the ×2 Barlow lens. Because at some point, since the eyepiece is not sitting in here, this secondary mirror needs to focus on something. So this is actually used as your eyepiece, your first eyepiece, and then it gets projected to the actual eyepiece onto the camera CCD. So again, that would go into here like this. Oops, that wasn't good. Alright, so that goes in like that. The same method with the eyepiece in it, it's going to make the image a little bigger, probably the size just a little less than a dime size. So you're going to see the image a lot larger, especially with like a 6 millimeter. And again, same thing, you focus like you would. And again, I strongly urge people use a wireless remote or a wired remote, so it prevents shaking and things like that. So that's the projection method when you use the eyepiece. So we'll just go one final review here of this. The projection method is the Barlow lens attached to the T adapter and the extension tube, which is screwed into the T-ring, and then there's an eyepiece inside. Or you can just do the, if you're not doing the projection method, so you won't need the eyepiece, you just use the T-ring and T adapter, which just looks like that. Screws into the T-ring. And then of course the Barlow lens, which is, I would always say if you can get Barlow lenses, make sure they're between 2 and 3 elements, because you don't want to just, and don't get the plastic ones, they're really, really cheap and they crack. So then you can just put it on your T-ring adapter like that, screw it down, and then into your camera, and then you take your photographs. Now, I ordered a 5 times Barlow lens, so like I said, I'm going to use that with my ×2 teleconverter or just directly to the telescope like that, which makes this a very powerful lens on your camera per se. So that's generally the concept of taking photos. For Jupiter, I use between an ISO of 200 and 400 with a shutter speed of 1/10 seconds and 115. Usually it's 115, and my ISO of 200 gives a really perfect image of it. For Saturn, I do, I think, between a 1 and 3 seconds and 1 and 5, along with a ISO of, I believe, 800 on that one, because you need something a little brighter. Now, when you're doing videos, if you're already in the picture mode and you want to switch to video, Saturn, you definitely have to, if your camera has this option on the top, while you're in the video mode, I have to click on that and change the ISO and make it to like about 1,000 or so, maybe it's a little less or higher, whatever, just to brighten it up so the video will show if you do video. And I will show you some video of Saturn. It's very small. Again, I was only using the ×2 teleconverter at the time when I took the, Barlow Lens when I took the video of Saturn. So once that 5 times Barlow Lens comes in, I'll be able to see it a little bigger and hopefully get some really, really good video of it. So again, that's the basic concept of what I do to shoot these 2 planets. And it's a really simple thing to do. So it's really not that hard, but just some of the things, like I said, I strongly recommend is definitely one of these. It's a plus. If you have an adapter to hook up a monitor, you can get monitors really cheap for like $130. I know that's not cheap to some people, but I think this one I bid on eBay and I got it for like $79. But it's good to have a field monitor so you can see it larger. If not, if you're not old and blind like me, you can see the image in this little tiny display on the cameras, but I have a hard time seeing it, so I needed something a little larger. Personally, if I can put a 4K 55-inch monitor on this, I would, so I can see. But no, but thanks for watching, and I hope this helps you out with some of the ideas of how to shoot prime in the projection method for taking pictures of the planets. The stars are going to be a little different. I would definitely use the projection method for the stars, and I would try to find an eyepiece that's small enough, probably within like a 20 millimeter or 25 millimeter, that will fit in here so you get a wide field of view. So when you're doing projection, you get a little larger part of the sky rather than just 1 or 2 stars at a time. But those are just simple shots. If you're looking to do clusters and double stars and nebulas and stuff, definitely you want to use a long exposure, so you might want to go with a go-to scope. So thanks for watching, and if you have any comments or any questions, feel free to save it with give your opinion and stuff. And if you have questions, just ask in the comments below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can with them as they come in. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.